This music is about playing together, human beings playing together. And we're living in a time when human beings are not playing together and being featured playing together. That was said 5 days ago on the Grammy stage by a first-time winner. I'll tell you exactly who in a few minutes. But first, I want to talk about something Rick Beato got wrong. Rick Beato recently put out a video comparing this year's Grammy nominees to the 1984 Grammys, specifically the Song of the Year category. Billie Jean, Every Breath You Take, All Night Long by Lionel Richie. And then he holds up what got nominated in 2026. Songs with 7, 10, 11 songwriters built on samples of older hits. And honestly, a lot of what he says about pop music is hard to argue with. But here's what Rick didn't look at, the jazz categories. He compared 1984 pop to 2026 pop and called it a day. So I want to finish his experiment. Same years, same Grammy institution, but some of the categories he didn't mention. Because when you do that, when you actually compare the 1984 Jazz Grammys to the 2026 Jazz Grammys, you don't get a story of decline. You actually get the opposite. In 2026, the Grammy for Best Jazz Instrumental Album went to Sullivan Fortner for Southern Nights, a breathtaking piano trio album as pure as it gets. Sullivan Fortner on piano, the legendary Peter Washington on bass, and Marcus Gilmore on drums. Here's how this record was made. Sullivan did a week at the Village Vanguard in New York City with these guys. It was their first time playing together as a trio, and during that week, while they were playing at the Vanguard at night, they walked into Sear Sound Studios during the day and recorded the whole album in one day. No rehearsals, no retakes, no isolation, just 3 musicians in a room playing exquisite music. And here's what makes this interesting. 8 of the 9 tracks of this album are actually covers. Clifford Brown, Cole Porter, Woody Shaw, Donald Brown. There's just one original. By Rick Beato's framework, where originality of authorship equals quality, this shouldn't work. But in jazz, the art has never been about whether you wrote it. It's about what you do with it. Fortner took Southern Nights, a Glen Campbell pop hit from the 70s, penned by Alan Toussaint, and he rebuilt it from the inside out through reharmonization and rhythmic invention. That is composition in real time. Now, the 1984 winner for Best Jazz Album, Wynton Marsalis, Think of One. It was a brilliant band, Kenny Kirkland, Branford Marsalis, Jeff Watts, great musicians, and Wynton wrote 3 originals on that record. But here's the question, is anyone still playing Nosmo King today? The album's legacy rests on how the band played, not on Wynton's composition. The craft was the art, same as Sullivan Fortner 42 years later, except Fortner's record might actually be the better album, and the one that ultimately stands the test of time. Now let me tell you a story that connects 1984 to 2026 in a way Rick Beato's framework can't account for. The 1984 Grammy for Best Jazz Vocal went to Ella Fitzgerald for The Best Is Yet to Come, her last record with legendary arranger Nelson Riddle. And Riddle's own biographer called the album a near disaster, said the raggedy tone of her voice couldn't be disguised. It was a legacy Grammy to an incredible artist. She won because she was Ella. But here's who she beat. She beat Sarah Vaughan, Crazy and Mixed Up, which is genuinely a better record. And she also beat Betty Carter's Whatever Happened to Love. Carmen McRae, herself a legend, once said, "There's really only one jazz singer, only one, Betty Carter." And in 1984, the Grammys couldn't see it. Betty had been running her own label, Betcar Productions, since 1969, because no other label would let her make the music she wanted to make. She didn't win her first Grammy until 1988. She was 58 years old, 40 years into an extraordinary career. But here's what Betty Carter did with her time. She built the next generation. She founded Jazz Ahead at the Brooklyn Academy of Music and later at the Kennedy Center in DC. She ran her bandstand like a finishing school. Mulgrew Miller, Cyrus Chestnut, Benny Green, Gregory Hutchinson, Lewis Nash, and the list goes on. She said she learned from these young players because, and this is her words, they're raw and they come up with things. I know this because I was one of those young players. I was 20 years old when I played with Betty Carter in 1991. And she did the same thing for me she did for everyone that played with her. She pushed you, she challenged you, and she showed you what the music was supposed to feel like. That experience shaped everything I do. That pipeline, mentor to student, bandstand to bandstand, that's how jazz works. Pop doesn't have that infrastructure. Jazz does. Which brings me back to what I said at the top. This music is about playing together. Human beings playing together. We're living in a time when human beings are not playing together and they're not being featured playing together. That wasn't me. That was Nate Smith, accepting his Grammy Award for Best Alternative Jazz Album just 5 days ago.
This music is about playing together and human beings playing together. We are living in a time when human beings are not playing together and being featured playing together.
And here's the part I haven't told you yet. 5 years after I played with Betty Carter, a 20-year-old drummer from Virginia walked into her Jazz Ahead program.
Ready for Jazz Ahead?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, can't wait to play.
Good for you.
She did the same thing for him she did for me and for everyone she put on her bandstand. She pushed him, she challenged him, and she showed him what the music was supposed to feel like. That drummer from Virginia was Nate Smith. So when Nate stood on that stage 5 days ago and said this, that's not just an opinion. That's Betty Carter's pipeline talking. And that brings us to the vocal side. The 2026 Grammy for Best Jazz Vocal Album went to Samara Joy for Portrait. She's 26 years old. This is her 6th Grammy already. But it's not the trophies that matter, it's how this record was made and the beauty that's revealed within it. Samara took her touring band, 8 young musicians she's been developing on the road over the last few years, into the legendary Rudy Van Gelder studios, the same room where John Coltrane recorded A Love Supreme. 3 days, just 2 or 3 takes per tune, all of them together in one room. Samara said something that I just love. I'm often the 5th voice, the 5th horn. I hope listeners will see that I'm a musician too.
You stepped out of a dream. You are too wonderful to be what you seem. Could there be eyes like yours? Could there be lips like yours?
Compare that to 1984, Ella winning for a record everyone agrees wasn't her best work. Betty Carter, maybe the most vital jazz vocalist alive at the time, completely shut out. The category split by gender. Great artists, but no classic records that have actually stood the test of time. In 2026, the nominees included Dee Dee Bridgewater, still vital in her 70s, on a fantastic duo recording with pianist Bill Charlap at the top of his game. Terry Lynn Carrington reimagining Max Roach's civil rights album for the present day. The depth of that field is the story. That's not decline, that's a thriving jazz ecosystem. So Rick, you were right to compare 2026 to 1984. You just looked at the wrong categories. Sullivan Fortner, no rehearsals, no retakes, recorded live in the studio. Samara Joy, Rudy Van Gelder Studios, 3 days, her road band, all in one room together. Nate Smith standing on the Grammy stage saying live music is our last stand. All of them part of a lineage that stretches back through Betty Carter and beyond. The talent is out there. The craft is out there. Human beings are still playing together. You just have to know where to look.